All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk with WBS. I'm Akshay Mastakar, your sales manager over here at WBS. This is Anurshi, and I'll let you explain yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Anushree. I'm the Associate Manager for Business Support and E-Learning. I've been with here in WPS for past 6 years now, and I have a different varied portfolio, you can say, that we handle market research activities, website maintenance, SEO, translation management, HR support tasks, data management, and anything that doesn't fit into the different departments of WBS, we will take it up.
Yeah, exactly. As you know, in this series, what we try to do is open up the door to having conversations with our industry experts, our departmental experts. And today it's business support. Business support, a fun one, like you just said. There's a lot of different things that you guys do. I think I was talking to you earlier about how I want to present it.
Yeah.
And I think the metaphor that I use, or the symbol I use, is the Swiss Army knife within the organization, right? I think even with your role and how you came into this role is also a little bit of that. Like, I think a little bit about your background. You came as a language expert.
Yeah, I initially started my journey with Würth, WBS, as a translator, German translator. So I was given the task of setting up the translation management process. So once I did that, after I think 8 or 9 months, I was given the opportunity to handle the HR task operations. Then came market research, SEO, and so it's going on for now 6 years now.
Yeah, I think Anushree is one of the OGs of the WBS company. You've been around since since like you said, since BSO started. Since the department started. And typically how things come into our company is from a request. If it's something that's brand new, like with a lot of things with business support, there were brand new tasks. They came in, we understand the requirement, realized it doesn't quite fit in engineering, it doesn't quite fit in direct marketing support, doesn't quite fit in product article master, for example. And then it kind of comes in as business support, these tasks that can help out in the back end, sometimes in the front end, really focus in the back office. So, I mean, we can kind of get started with some of the things that business support does. And this is really where I was thinking about, again, I was talking to you earlier, how do I even present it? But I think the best way to present it is like with examples, right? So I think one of the top services in business support is market research.
Yes, definitely.
And there's two sides to it, I think. In my head, and you can correct me if you're wrong, and add to it. There's the lead search, and then there's the actual market research.
Market research, right? Correct.
Yeah. So how do we kind of approach both topics, for example?
We will, I think, let's go by each service that is there. So when it comes to lead search, so the thing is, doing the requirement analysis is the first step that is extremely important, because we have to sit with the customer. We have to understand what lead search exactly is he looking for. Is he looking for new customers? Is he looking for new suppliers or vendors in a particular region? Is any particular industry that he's targeting? After industry comes a geographic region that they're looking for, and a particular company of a particular size, because even that also matters, right? They're mainly looking for, let's say, employee size should be minimum 100, or the revenue of the company has to be minimum so and so. This is the exact product that we are looking for, or it can be as minute as a part of a product also. Let's say a screw of a complete HVAC. This could be also one of the examples. So what we do is we sit with them, we understand the requirements, and after the requirements are understood, we do a small sample search for them, because even that is important. Are we able to do it or not? How much scope do we have after understanding the requirements? And then we present them the sample search, because it might be that they have certain suggestions from their end. They want to add certain information. Because let's say if we are talking about, let's say a vendor or a supplier, then they might be looking for a head of purchase, or let's say not even a head of purchase, or purchasing manager, or they might be directly looking for a C-suite designation. So all these requirements are extremely important, so that we can give them a targeted lead search. So once these requirements are analyzed, once the sample work is approved by them, then we go ahead with the actual one. same thing is done for the different market research activities also.
Right.
Let's say we are talking about a competitor analysis or a company analysis or an industry analysis. So we understand what exactly they are looking for. Let's say for a competitor analysis, they might already be having certain competitors in front of them, or they leave it up to us, that, this is a product, this is the region, this is the industry. You look for the competitors that fit into our criteria, and then you do a detailed analysis of it. So this is the way, because this work cannot be done just by telling that, I want search to be done.
Yeah.
We need a lot of inputs from their end, certain information from their end, and then we can take it forward completely.
Yeah, and there was a lot there, right? So, I mean, I'm just going to sit here and pick it apart a little bit. But something you mentioned that was interesting with the lead search is it's obviously this is a sales company work by and large. So whenever you say lead generation or lead search, it's an interesting topic for anyone in sales.
Yeah.
And given most of us, company at large again, are kind of focusing on the sales end of things, right? But there's two sides to that. There is one where we come up with a customer list of potential customers that we can reach out to according to the details that we work out with our partners. But then there's also the supplier research. And I think we've done a few projects now for supplier lead generation or supplier contact lists. What's the difference in how you research for a customer and how you research for a potential new supplier?
For customers, most of the time they tell us about the geography, the industry, or that's it. That's what they're looking for, because then the customer can be open to all the products.
It's a little more open-ended,
Yeah, it's
right?
open-ended.
Yeah.
But with, let's say, a supplier, the information is pretty much targeted. It can be a particular product. It can be a particular ISO requirement that they are looking for in a particular industry. So there, the research is a little more intense than the customer, because customer is open to everything. The supplier, they need to match the quality requirements of the youth group also.
Exactly. Yeah, super interesting. Yeah, and I think with market research, we also have, like I said, it's a lot of sales ending projects, right? So in market research, there are quite a few cool setups that we've done. Maybe one of the projects that we can kind of talk about was in US.
Yeah.
Thing with the new business development team and junior sales. And then the other part of it was sales professionals going to a customer visit for the first time.
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of projects, but this one was really cool to see because the level of detail that was required and then standardization of the data was really interesting. And I'll let you speak a little bit about that.
Because see, the aim of lead search is basically, to convert it into a potential customer into the customer for us. So obviously the sales team wanted a lot of information because that was the ammo with which they could go and approach the customer. Because if you are going to a company with not much information in your hands, it's difficult to ask them, the right questions rather than keeping it open-ended. So it was kind of a mixture of lead search and company analysis, because company analysis is more in-depth, but they wanted the similar information in a very crisp and concise manner.
Yeah.
So obviously it came with what the company was about, how many manufacturing locations they had, what was their revenue in past 5 years, is there a specific DIN certification they are into, who are their potential customers or their competitors in the region, who are the decision makers, and what the decision makers did. Is there any background information available about them that can help? Are they looking into new ventures, any new industry they have, reached into? So all this information was provided to them.
Yeah. No, and we were saying, right, so there's a lot that we provided to them.
Yeah.
And what I noticed in the setup was that it was a standardized format, because what we wanted to do, and knowing salespeople, we're not very detail oriented. Sometimes we're more action oriented at times. But we provided all this information in a standardized format so that it could be kind of like a quick look docket.
Yeah.
Right. And the access level actually went pretty deep into what data was required.
Yes.
And I think we had to get some help from APAC coordinator from sales ops to really validate some of the data and then provide this docket to them.
Yes.
So that was super interesting in that project. I think we also had another project in the European region where the customer identified, there's a new key account manager coming into the company. And what we wanted to do was set them up with a bunch of information about new targets within their region. And it was very specific as the region as well. Perhaps we can talk a little bit about that setup too. What were like kind of the challenges? What were the expectations over there?
Yeah, again, it was similar to, what happened for the US also. The important thing was that to set him up for, in his job. So whatever requirements that he gave us, the good thing about market research is there are no boundaries to what we can do. There are no, fixed SOPs or fixed guidelines that is given or set up here, and we can just explore the work that we do for anyone. So it all depended on his requirements. Let's say he was looking for a particular geography, and then it has been even in a particular distance also. That I don't want to cross more than 50 kilometers looking for a customer. So then we explored which are the industry clusters in and around his region. And depending on the kilometers that were set by him, we also gave.
And it was really interesting. The segments were really interesting too, right? I think they focused on like windmills too. So really interesting segments that we were able to kind of new energy. We connected it to like government policies, which way they're going, their own sales trends, their own sales targets, and what they expected of the new salesperson, the new sales manager to join. And then we were able to, and kind of how I said it on the call, we were able to put a bunch of things on their table so that they can already get started with the induction and really where to focus, right? That was really interesting.
Otherwise, they would have spent considerable time just understanding the geography of the industry that they are supposed to handle. In this case, we did the groundwork for them, and they took it up ahead from here.
And as sales managers, we know the expectation comes directly, right?
Definitely.
You get maybe 2 weeks or a month in honeymoon, and then really it's the conversation goes into, okay, so how much have we produced so far? So this is our way of kind of speeding up that process for this customer and helping out in that way. I think another interesting thing with market research, especially nowadays and the way tech is developing, is the involvement of AI, right? And I've talked to your team about this too. I think we talked earlier about this a little bit. What I know, and I've had conversations with people about this, why can't I just Google something on AI or I use GPT to find out some industry research? But the one key point is that AI, at the end of every AI chat, it says, hey, this is AI content. Please validate it yourself, right? And that's something I've talked about with your team. But maybe you can kind of explain the nuance here.
So with the emergence of AI and the introduction of that in WBS, so I would say that the market research team has moved from just being the mere research analyst or data collectors to strategy analysts. Okay, so for example, it's easy to Google definitely or put it on Copilot and get the information. But what is the criteria or what is the condition that this information is true? What is the criteria this information is validated? For example, they can you just research and there can be a sentence appearing on AI, so-and-so market has grown by 25% in the last 5 years. Now this statement looks good enough to be put into the research report. But what the team does, it analyzes this information. Now who has published this information? On what basis are they saying that the market has grown by 25%? What assumptions were they using to make the statement? Is this particular for a geography or an industry, or is it in general for everything? So it's not just information, it's also the facts that are to be validated. So AI can give you two conflicting information, customer A is doing well in so-and-so business. Customer B is also doing so and well in so-and-so business. Now, which information is correct? So this is important. Now, this information has to be validated. It has to be researched. You have to read through. Obviously, a lot of information is collated and given
That's what
us
you
to us.
strategically do.
But then the validation or understanding is extremely important. To give you an example, we just did last year we did an industry analysis for the APAC region, and they were talking about the industry is growing phenomenally in this particular region. Then there was another information that another teammate validated, saying that there are government restrictions because of which the industry is not going to grow. Now you see there are two conflicting informations that are coming on the air, but it was validated through a government paper that they are growing. There are government restrictions because of labor problems in a particular region of that country, but the other region of that country has the potential to grow. So we have to put that information so that the analysts or the people who are going to read that report can make a very clear decision based on what information is provided.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just mentioned like validation, right?
Yeah.
If you're in an AI chat and I ask for a certain segment, research or whatever, research in a sector that I'm looking into, and then it gives me the answer. And if I respond to AI saying, actually, you're wrong, even if it was right, it will just agree with what I'm saying.
Definitely.
And this is, again, the point of why strategic validation is needed with the data that we provide, especially if you're going to use it to make strategic decisions. A lot of our market research ends up in the manager's hands, senior manager's hands, sometimes in the director's hands. That's why this is so important. I know as a manager, as a director, time is always limited. And that's why the AI seems like something that's like a magic tool that can kind of fix the time thing. And but then again, really thinking, okay, is this valid? Is this something I can guide my business going forward on? And look, if you provided me research and I said to you, no, wait, you're wrong over here, even though you're right, you're going to say, no, I'm actually right. And we can back it up with the business support department and our process and how we came to the information. But if you were AI, you would just, okay, no, I'm sure, whatever.
Because it's easier to just copy paste data that comes, and it might make the report look very rich with information. But is this information true? Is it valid? Is it useful also? It's also extremely important.
Super important. Super important. I mean, while we're on the topic of tech, I guess we can step into one of the departments in business support that is heavy with tech, right? Is the website stuff that we do. So website development, SEO. There's a lot to pick apart over here. Some cool projects that we're doing recently, I think with the landing pages across different regions, different countries, and then SEO. Maybe you can speak about what the department capabilities are with website development.
So obviously we are into website maintenance. So let's say that a particular country or a customer wants certain changes on his website. We can definitely make it through First Spirit or other different software platforms.
Because there is some... I think a big part of the website development is that we follow the Würth IT guidelines and kind of help out in that development side as well.
So the team has to be well versed with the CDCI guidelines, has to understand the First Spirit platform really well to build on it. Then from SEO perspective, obviously the team has understood. Obviously, again, it's similar to market research because we have to sit with them. We have to understand, what changes do you want to make? Or let's say in SEO, a lot of focus is there on keyword research. So are these keywords valid for you and valid for you in that country's language also? So that information is validated. And I would say that the SEO now has moved from, not just appearing on top of the Google ranking list, but also appearing as a valid source in the AI search that the companies or anyone looking for the website is looking for. So there is also this slight transition, and the team has started implementing those changes and put some websites, and we are seeing good results in the monthly maintenance report that we provide to them. So and where we started and where we have reached and have the potential to reach has grown phenomenally.
That's the super interesting. I mean, the impressive part for me, even I watch the process, get onboarded, I help out with the onboarding and things like that. But this website maintenance report, right? it's so important of SEO when you make all these changes to show that it actually works.
Yeah.
And one of the times that we onboard for a customer, I looked over the reports, and it was so impressive to show that how the SEO actually worked, drove users to the web page.
Yeah.
And if your web page has an eShop, that's the benefit too. I think we had a call where I was trying to connect the dot with the customer, where it's like SEO, yes, it works for the website, but if your eShop is on your website, you're going to drive users to the eShop from here. So that was really impressive too.
So first 3 months, we just took to set up the website as per the SEO guidelines. So first 3 months, there were not much results that were reflecting, but then slowly the results started building up. We adjusted the proper keywords into the content. We aligned it as per the Google requirements. Obviously, as they say, stuffing too many keywords is also a black hat SEO strategy. They call it.
Sure.
So we have to be also careful about that. Make certain changes, add certain images, structure it, that can be properly visible on a website and the mobile phone also. And then slowly the numbers started, the effort started showing up in numbers.
Yeah.
In the geography.
It's so interesting. Yeah. And I think, again, this being able to standardize according to the Würth IT guidelines, because it is kind of a strict guideline that we do follow, and for good reasons.
Yeah.
So I know there's a lot of back and forth with the IT team that we're able to kind of take on that load for customers. And then because of our process expertise, working with so many regions, working on so many development projects with websites, it moves along a little smoother and faster, at least for the customer. For us sometimes. But that's on us for us to deal with, right? And maybe now we can kind of step into this. Your background, as we said earlier, as being a language expert, right? I think translation is a huge service that we also provide. Sometimes it's not clear, the expectation from the customer. Sometimes there are complications. It's language, it's understandable. But maybe as a start, we can talk about how we do translation services over here. Right?
So we mostly cater to marketing documents, where we translate web pages, press releases, newsletters, landing pages, brochures, flyers. So now that we have worked with this particular customer for a long time, we understand the requirements. So mostly we translate from German to English. So now what we do is, when we are translating, let's say a particular heading or a particular title, we have to understand the cultural significances when translating into English. So recently we did about a screw with a black coating. Okay. So the little German translation was little black dress.
Okay.
But that's not the right approach, right? Because while translating, this is not what is meant. So we had to, tweak it a little bit. And at times what we do is we also provide different options to the customers, because they might be having more context about the landing page or the brochure. So then we discuss it with them and go for the best possible option. And obviously the thing is that we have to understand we are not sticking to the source directly, but to make it more natural in English, we have to make certain adjustments to the documents.
And I think we have a program that we use too. And from what I saw, it saves how we want to translate the term. So there's a little black dress. Instead of that, we put the correction inside the program. And then now every time this term comes out, it's translated correctly according to what the customer expects. But I think the key over there is that we have a relationship with the customer, and we build on a set of expectations of what the language should look like, right? I think a funny topic that we've talked about in the past is the difference between translation and transcreation, right? It's one thing for us to now go out there and translate everything. And I think the typical view at outsourcing, and it's fair, is that we reduce the load completely. But with language, things can get a little bit hairy. It can get a little bit dicey. And there's a specific difference between translation and transcreation. Transcreation is now assuming, maybe you can correct me, I'm going to just throw it out there, assuming the right translation for your industry, or what's the difference between the two?
Translation is literally from, depending on your source, we give the target. Transcreation is going little out of the way understanding the context and making certain changes in your target document. So for example, we recently did a brochure on, selling practices that are implemented, or how that brochure would help to the sales team to approach the customer. So this time the client told us that, the source is there. Now make your translation a little bit benefit oriented. So of the first draft we did, translation as per the source. And then we started moving away to make the sentences more benefit oriented.
Yeah.
So then if you compare the source with the translation, it would not match at all, because then we had to change the content accordingly, and it worked well with them.
Yeah. That was a cool project. Yeah. We didn't go off a lot too. The instruction was fairly simple.
Yeah.
But the instruction came in.
Yeah.
Hey, I want this and this and this.
But again, for translation, I would say it's super important that your source has to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. If your source is, not properly validated or checked or grammatically incorrect, or, let's say it's not properly structured, it makes the translator's life a bit difficult, because there is so much, how you can go away from the source. Because let's say it's a technical documents, and if it's validated by a technical expert, then it's easier to translate, because there the translator cannot take, his content for granted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is extremely important to, underline over here.
It's interesting, right? I mean, kind of in my head, it's ringing out with like data management services as well, right? What are the ins and the outs, and how do we validate certain elements of this? And I think, like I said, validating ins and outs, right? And then business support being this kind of Swiss Army knife within the company, right? Of, okay, what do you want? Does it not quite fit into a department? And is it just a kind of resource to help you out, a human resource to help you out? That's largely where I see, obviously there's a lot of skill sets within the team for data management, but then this idea, and I'm saying it a lot nowadays in my calls, where if it's something that's manual, requires a lot of hours to clean up, and repetitive in that nature of cleaning up a document, especially when it comes to data, this is like the ideal task within the department, right? And that's kind of how I pitch the data management services. But there are also capabilities within the team. I know the team knows a little bit of BI, a little bit of expertise there. Maybe you can just talk to the expertise within the team for data management. So
if we receive, data management from Germany, let's say, so language is a key point over here, because the team has to know German to, read the data. Then, attention to detail, organization skills, accuracy and speed, all these things matter. So what we have done is we have sat with the client, understood the requirements, performed certain tasks together with them, built an SOP, because that is what is the base for continuing the work. Once that SOP is validated, we have taken up the work, because data management, if it's not related to a particular skill set, can be done in a faster and a better way with just attention to details. That helps a lot.
Exactly.
If it's BI and Excel's skill set, the team also we do have 7 Power BI experts in our team, so they are able to process the data in a faster way, present it as per the customer's requirement.
I mean, not to get too deep into all the help that BSO even provides, not just for the customer, but internally as well, right? You guys are part of our reporting functions. You guys are part of our invoicing functions. You guys are part of our learning and development functions. So it's like I said, it's this kind of Swiss Army knife. It doesn't quite fit into a certain process area. BSO as a team, even I lean on sometimes. I don't know where this fits. I need help. And then I just talk to you and the team.
Happy to help.
And we get it done. But I mean, like we said, I think a lot of these things come from a customer requirement. You and me know, being in WBS for this many years, how services are created are highly from the customer. Again, it didn't fit in the process. It doesn't currently fit within our scope, but we have a team that can kind of adapt to this business support team, right? And maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of how this HR support was set up. They're very new tasks to us. But we sat with the customer, we got into the details, created the SOP, defined the access level that we needed. And maybe these services aren't evergreen, so they're not like 365 days a year. But they're there, and we're able to support them. And in my head, this is like, it really proves our capabilities in back office functions, right? But maybe you can speak a little bit about what kind of HR services that we provide, you know, the ins and outs.
So we do have processes like creating contracts. So we create contracts for interns or holiday workers, new joiners that are there in the organization, or even people working from home office. Even contracts are required for these kind of arrangements. So we prepare those contracts. Then we create A1 certificate and EU notification that is required for employees who are traveling cross borders for a particular business region. Then we process that. Then we have a process of creating a certificate or uploading certificate in the SME system for people who are going on leaves. So that if you're going on a medical leave, then you need a doctor's validated certificate from there, and that has to be uploaded for a particular number of days. These processes are handled for a lot of company codes right now. Then we have the kindergarten grant and application work that comes between July to September. Then, year-end appraisal data collation and management is done. So HR is actually very varied when it comes to work-wise.
Yeah, like I said, Swiss Army knife. You guys just do so much in that area, right? I think and back office, even what we talked about with data management, there's a lot of cleanup activity. Often these tasks can be overlooked until they become critical. And that's kind of the benefit here of business support. Even with the HR functions, where it's like, travel management is a huge topic within the company, right? Again, salespeople traveling all the time. So it's interesting to see that we have this setup over here, that we're able to externalize it in a different country, that we're able to kind of clean up that process and provide support to something that is often overlooked, even though it's critical. So interesting from that end. I mean, that's kind of the whole gist of it. I think that's all the topics from my head. The 5 branches of BSO, I think, on business support. Is there anything to add from your end?
Nothing.
I think pretty good. We had a discussion about what we were going to talk about today. So, I think we covered all the dots. As always, really happy you stayed on the podcast this long. Hope this information was helpful. If you are interested in business support services within the Würth Group, feel free to reach out to our nursery. Feel free to reach out to me, and we'll be happy to connect the dots and get your project started. And with that, I hope you have a great day ahead. Thanks.
Thank you.